Usually from the moment that you decide to study in Germany until you get into the Studienkolleg of choice, there are 5 things that need to get fulfilled. Let's go through them together. Number 1, you need to finish your high school and have the certificates necessary for getting your high school degree recognized in Germany. That is the HZB that we talked about. So you need to have all those things which are listed in the website of the AAD that we check together for your HZB ready. And if they are not in English or German, usually you need to translate them. That is one thing, to have your academic background readily proven, to be able to prove that. Number 2 is your language certificate. You need to have a language certificate usually at the B1 or B2 level, depending on the Studienkolleg that you apply to. If you apply for Studienkolleg of Bochum, which only has T course, then B1 is enough. If you go for Studienkolleg Marburg or FU Berlin or Hamburg or München, then you usually need B2, right? B2 certificate. Generally, you need to plan to have a German of B1, B2-ish level for the admission and B2, C1-ish level, so rather advanced for getting accepted into the Studienkolleg, like passing the entry test. All right, so we talked about these 2 requirements. Number 1, your academic background certificates. And number 2 is the German certificate. With these 2, you manage to go to the 3rd step, which is applying for the desired Studienkollegs. Once you do that, you get an invitation letter, which usually comes a couple of months after the application. That invitation letter is the step number 4, which says, hey, you have been invited to our Studienkolleg, you fulfilled everything, come and sit our entry test. And that is the step 5. At step 5, you sit the entry test and you hopefully pass it and you can start the Studienkolleg process. Now, if you are non-EU applicant, you need to take care of the visa matters too, in parallel to these 5 steps. Visa usually takes around 2 to 3 months for the positive reply. So from the moment that you go inside the embassy and apply for a visa until they say, okay, here is your visa, you can go to Germany. Usually 5 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, sometimes a bit more, right? And you need to bear in mind that not all the German embassies in every country give you an appointment right away. Sometimes German embassies require months and months, even sometimes over a year, to give you an appointment. So go and check the website of German embassy in your home country as soon as possible, right after this lecture. See what is the situation with appointment. If you don't find information, write an email to them. Go to their contact form, write to them and say, hi, I want to study in Germany. How can I get an appointment and how long is the waiting time? They will answer you. That said, these 5 steps are in general what you need to know, what you need to pass through in order to get into the Studienkolleg. Now, in order to plan this whole process, you need to allocate time for each of them. In the next lecture, you have an assignment to put the necessary time that you need for each of these steps. Of course, the language part is dependent on where you are now. Maybe you are not now 0 in German, maybe you are already at A1 or A2 or B1 level. So it's very personal. You need to see for yourself how much time you need for each step. Let's go for a rule of thumb. From 0 knowledge of German until B1, you usually need 400, 500 hours of group classes. For reaching to the B2, from 0 to B2, you usually need 800 hours of group classes. In order to get an appointment at the German embassy, you need a few weeks to a few months or sometimes over a year of time. You need to check that for your case. And in order to go and apply and get a positive reply, you need between 5 to 8 weeks of time, usually. And from the moment that you get the visa and come and take the entry test until the results are out, it usually takes 1 or 2 weeks. So actually the entry test is done, and right after that, a few days even after that, you get the results. All that said, this is a little bit complex. Ask your questions in the Q&A, discuss your things around, find other applicants from your country, find those who have done this path from your home country, and they will give you a lot of information, and ask your questions from us too. Let's share that information together. See you in the next lecture.